The Black Death. Even the name evokes fear and dread. This devastating pandemic, also known as the bubonic plague, swept across Europe and Asia in the mid-14th century. It left an indelible mark on human history, reshaping societies and leaving millions dead in its wake. From 1346 to 1353, the Black Death ravaged Europe, killing an estimated 30 to 60% of the continent's population. This period stands as one of the deadliest in human history, a stark reminder of the power of infectious diseases. The plague's arrival in Europe was a harbinger of unimaginable suffering. Cities, once bustling centers of trade and culture, transformed into ghost towns. The stench of death permeated the air, a grim testament to the disease's relentless grip. The Black Death did not discriminate, affecting people of all ages, social classes, and walks of life. It was a societal leveler, a stark reminder of the fragility of human existence. The Black Death's origins can be traced back to Central Asia, where it likely emerged in the early 1340s. From its epicenter, the plague followed the well-trodden trade routes of the Silk Road, a network of ancient pathways connecting east and west. These routes, bustling with merchants and travelers, became conduits for the disease's rapid spread. As merchants traversed these routes, unknowingly carrying infected fleas on their goods and animals, the plague silently hitched a ride. It spread westward, reaching the Crimean Peninsula in 1346. Here, it infiltrated the bustling port city of Kaffa, a key hub for trade between Europe and Asia. The siege of Kaffa by Mongol armies, who themselves were suffering from the plague, proved to be a turning point. It is believed that infected fleas from the besieged city found their way onto ships fleeing to Europe, carrying the Black Death to new and unsuspecting populations. The Black Death's primary mode of transmission was through fleas, tiny insects that thrived on rodents, particularly black rats. These rats, often found in close proximity to humans, served as reservoirs for the plague bacterium, Yersinia pestis. Fleas, feeding on infected rats, became carriers of the deadly bacterium. These infected fleas, when they bit humans, inadvertently transmitted the plague. The flea's bite would inject the bacteria into the bloodstream, leading to infection. The plague's rapid spread was facilitated by the unsanitary conditions prevalent in medieval cities. Overcrowding, poor sanitation, and the presence of rats created an ideal environment for the disease to flourish. Section 4. A disease of three forms: bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic. The Black Death, while commonly referred to as the bubonic plague, actually manifested in three distinct forms: bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic. Each form presented with its own set of gruesome symptoms, reflecting the different ways the plague bacterium attacked the body. Bubonic plague, the most common form, presented with painful swollen lymph nodes called buboes. These buboes, typically appearing in the groin, armpits, or neck, were filled with pus and caused excruciating pain. Other symptoms included fever, chills, headache, and extreme weakness. Pneumonic plague, a more deadly form, affected the lungs. It caused severe coughing, difficulty breathing, chest pain, and bloody sputum. Transmission occurred through the air, making it highly contagious. Septicemic plague, the rarest and most lethal form, occurred when the bacteria entered the bloodstream. It led to sepsis, organ failure, and death, often within hours of the first symptoms appearing. Section 5. A world turned upside down: societal upheaval and change. The Black Death's impact on medieval society was profound and far-reaching. It touched every aspect of life, from demographics and economics to religion and culture. The sheer scale of death led to widespread societal upheaval and change. The most immediate impact was the staggering loss of life. With mortality rates reaching as high as 60% in some areas, entire communities were decimated. Labor shortages crippled agriculture and industry, leading to economic decline. The plague's relentless march disrupted trade routes, as fear and quarantine measures brought commerce to a standstill. The social order, already fragile, began to crumble as the Black Death spared no one, regardless of social standing or wealth. Section 6. Fighting a Ghost: Medieval Responses and Remedies. Faced with an invisible enemy, medieval physicians and authorities struggled to understand and combat the Black Death. Lacking a true understanding of the disease's cause or transmission, they resorted to a combination of ineffective and often harmful treatments. Bloodletting, a common medical practice at the time, involved draining blood from the patient in an attempt to restore balance to the body's humors. However, this practice, based on flawed medical theories, often weakened the patient further. Other remedies included applying leeches, creating poultices from herbs and other substances, and praying for divine intervention. As the plague raged on, some communities resorted to more desperate measures, such as flagellation, believing that self-punishment would appease God's wrath. Section 7. The Enduring Legacy, Shaping Modern Europe. The Black Death, despite its horrors, left an enduring legacy that shaped the course of European history. While it brought unimaginable suffering, it also ushered in a period of profound change that ultimately contributed to the Renaissance and the birth of modern Europe. The massive population decline led to a labor shortage, giving peasants and laborers more bargaining power. This, in turn, contributed to the decline of feudalism, a rigid social system that had defined medieval Europe. The plague also had a profound impact on religious beliefs. The Church, once seen as all-powerful, was questioned as people struggled to understand why God would allow such suffering. This questioning of authority extended beyond religion, leading to intellectual curiosity and a renewed interest in classical learning, paving the way for the Renaissance.